Panels, ladies and gentlemen, from then until now, there are many cases of mistreatment towards animals. But even so, now the community has started to be more aware of the rights of animals. It is shown that every time there is an animal case carried out by individual persons, people will voice the rights of animals. And we ourselves must also be aware of where to start spreading the animals' rights movement to the public. However, ladies and gentlemen, even after the awareness spreads rapidly, yet animal abuse is still happening all around us, and proven that awareness didn't spread well to all levels of society. And we believe that animal exploitations have more urgency in the animal rights movement that will bring us more benefit regarding the animal rights movement. Our goal is to protect animal rights through focusing on animal exploitation and prevent future animal abuse that also could cause harm to the environment. Our mechanism to achieve those goals is by tighten the protection regulations on animals' rights, especially things that are detrimental to the animal, both physically and mentally. Our first argument is animal rights, and our first point of discussion is things to look out regarding the basics of animal rights. Why do we need to take a look at the basics of animal rights? Because we need to know the bare minimum of how to treat animals correctly. Ladies and gentlemen, people may acknowledge or justify mistreatment of animals just because they didn't know the basics of animal rights. Firstly, we need to ensure that the animals live in a comfortable environment. Animals are easily stressed if they are not comfortable in their homes or habitat or even environment they live in. And secondly, they consume guaranteed food. Have you ever heard the force feeding alcohol towards animals at the zoo? Even in a place that we can say is guaranteed like that, it can happen due to people's unconsciousness. And thirdly, animals must also be physically and mentally healthy in the sense of being free from stress. This is true where animals have the right to live freely in their original habitat, and we as humans also believe it is not permissible for humans to harm animals both physically and mentally. Secondly, they also have the right to a place to live, and for non-owned animals, they also have the right to the food they consume. And even for animals that are, for example, prepared to perform actions such as in shows or films, the care of these animals also have a mandatory procedure and special treatments. Our second point of discussions is places usually animal exploitations or animal abuse occurs. It is true that animal exploitations can happen anywhere, but generally it happens in places with limited protection, such as the wild nature. Many wild animals are hunted brutally to make profit for the illegal hunters. However, animal exploitations also often occurs in a place we visit a lot, such as animal attractions in zoo. Therefore, we will categorize these places based on their protections. Is it limited protections or high protections towards the animal? Because categorizing it by levels of protection will create a different impacts on our observations. Firstly, low protection places. Places with low protections and regulations regarding the animal will only create harm for the animal. To make profit, hunters should illegally hunt just to take up the part that the hunter think is useful. And also, please do underline panels. Low protection places here we can take, for example, in the wild nature, where animals just roam according to their instincts and it is very difficult to provide protection directly to them. Therefore, we the side opposition believe by providing the regulations that are more specific to animals in the wild will reduce the case of animal abuse itself. And secondly, high protection places. High protection places, here we mean a place that is commonly seen by people and is also recognized by high ranking officials regarding the existence of this place, such as zoo, which deceives animals, such as the most common being the dolphin attractions. It is the animal in the zoo that are most exploitable, where they are employed perhaps still being fed by the zoo's management. However, at the beginning of the pandemic, the zoo having less visitors and zoo's income used to support these animals could be categorized as less. Ladies and gentlemen, do underline that the income is used not only to support the animal. Therefore, many animals are also returned to their original habitat. From here, we know that for the exploitation of animals that do not know the place, there will always be a gap for hunters to prevent from these animals. What is caused by a lack of fear from them is because the regulations on animals that are currently owned are less strict and not provide enough punishment or penalty for object, which is animals. Therefore, we believe we urgently need to strengthen and tighten regulations that protect animals. Our second argument is only one point of discussion, which is how animal exploitations affect the environmental concerns, which is food chain as example. As I said in point two in the first argument, due to pandemic that zoos lose one of their big sources of income so that they fire employees and release their animals when they can't afford to pay for them. There will be three possibilities for them to release it, which is first, let the animals be subsidized by the government, and secondly, sell the animal to the collectors, thirdly, releasing or returning animals to their natural habitat. And so far, returning animals to their natural habitat is the best we can do. Why? Firstly, it is pandemic, so the government has have more urgency, so it must allocate funds to restore life and support its people. And secondly, by selling the animals to the collectors is the same as plunging them into a deep hole without an end, where they are only used as part of their body, which is according to collectors is beneficial for them and causes only continued exploitation. And lastly, by returning animals to their natural habitats, we will rebalance the environment and it will rebalance the food chain, which is the goal of the side proposition. And panels, at the end of the day, as I mentioned before, there are no such places that are 100% abuse and exploit free for the animals. But our side of the house provides more solutions and even also having the benefits that the side proposition is trying to achieve. And therefore, we have the upper hand in today's debate, so I'm very proud to oppose today's motion. Thank you.